Okay, welcome and welcome back, Pero Kama podcast family, to another monthly wrap up. Our first wrap up of 2025, y'all. So, like we always do, we're just going to talk about our stats, our books, and how we felt about them. So, if you're interested in that, stick around.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start off with my stats.
Mm-hmm.
So this month, and just so you guys know, we track our stats across a few apps, but what we use for our wrap ups is Storygraph
Mm-hmm.
because it just all in one screen gives you all the
Everything.
information. You don't have to go into different tabs. So Storygraph for the win.
Mm.
So January 2025, I started off with 8 books. 2000, yeah, I know. 2,636 pages.
Mm.
I like.
Mm.
Let's see. My biggest mood was funny.
Okay.
Had to start off the year with some laughs.
Yes.
Yeah. My next one was lighthearted, and then it goes emotionally adventurous, mysterious, and hopeful, which is different for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
usually dark.
My pace was mostly medium paced books.
Mm-hmm.
And then my page numbers over it was 300 to 499 was my average. All
And that's
fiction.
pages for the books. Mm-hmm.
All fiction. I have not finished my nonfiction book, but that's one that goes throughout the year. So,
Yeah.
um, my genre went romance and fantasy are tied, thanks to T. Kingfisher.
Mhm.
Let's see here. 50-50 digital and audio, which no, one of them was a hardcover, so I didn't save that one right. But my average rating was 4.34 stars.
It's a good month.
Yes. Yours, Colette?
So I read 7 books this year. Oh, by the way, just to give you guys an update, at the beginning of the year, I had said my stats, my reading goals for this year was 75 books, and I wanted to read 36 physical books, 20 audio books, and the rest of them would be my Kindle. I lied. My goal for this year is 60 books because I can't do what I did last year again. And I'm following Liz. I'm going to do 20-20-20. Just so we're clear. So I read 7 books in the month of January for a total of 3,623 pages. I know. My biggest mood was dark.
Oh,
Go
we
figure.
flopped. We flip flopped.
The second one was adventurous, and the third one was tense. Ciao. Yeah,
What?
yeah. My pace, I read mostly medium pace books. The average length of my page of books is between the 300 499 pages. Also fiction because it's my I think I'm coming back into my fantasy bag. My most read genre is fantasy this month, and then second is young adult. I'm very much proud of myself.
I am proud of you too.
My format, because I'm making progress. 29% print, which is like a physical book. 29% audio, and 43% digital. Yeah, yeah, yeah. For an average of 35.25 hours. And then Pierce Brown has me in a chokehold because I'm reading Red Rising, which you're going to hear about. So he's my most read author for the month of January. All right, Liz, let's start off with your books.
Okay. So in no particular order. Okay. I started this series by T. Kingfisher called the Saint of Steel series.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys weren't here before, I read my first T. Kingfisher book last year. I think it was in December. I love her writing. So I decided to jump in, see if there was anything on Audible Plus, and there was. So this is an Audible Plus book. So if you have
Okay.
Audible, you could listen to it for included, not for free because you pay the monthly, whatever. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Without using a credit. There we go. And it's called Paladin's Grace.
Oh, okay.
I I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. There was a point where I was like, okay, what's going on? And then boom, I got my answer right away. So
Carrie enjoys that book.
yeah, I really did. And it follows Stephen, who is a berserker paladin.
Mm-hmm.
And he was hand chosen by a god. The god dies, which causes them to be able to lose control over their berserker. If you don't know what that is, it's just someone who just rages and just powerful and everything. Anyway, so once their god dies, him and his brothers and sisters, other paladins, go to another city and start staying they start staying at the Temple of the White Rat, which is just like a community, not a community, but a sector
Mm-hmm.
of this continent, I guess, where there's nuns, there's bishops, and all of that stuff. So they took them in, and then they're finding bodies that are missing heads. Stephen stumbles across what it is that's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
He meets a perfumer who is suspected of murdering the prince, but she's wrongfully suspected. And her and Stephen,
Mm-hmm.
that they're the love interest of the book. So I rated it 4.25. 4.25 stars. Absolutely loved it. The other books that I read, and I'll just go over them quickly.
Mm-hmm.
My midlife crisis, my rules. That's book 4 of the Good to the Last Death series that I started back last year.
Mm-hmm.
Rated at 4.25. Super funny. Also on Audible. Well, I don't know anymore because I know it was on there for a limited time. So check it out. It might still be on Audible Plus. I'm not sure. Then I read listened to another T. Kingfisher book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's Bryony and the Roses. I loved it. I rated it 5 stars. It's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, but way different. Well, I just loved it. So if you're into Beauty and the Beast, that's my favorite Disney movie. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Me too.
jumped in. Did great book. Great, 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 great. Then, I had we put some books up on our Instagram to be
Mm-hmm.
chosen which one we read next. Everybody chose, not everybody, but the one that was picked the most was Not in Love by Allie Hazelwood. So I had no problem jumping into that one.
Right.
We know I love Allie. And I rated that one 4.5 stars.
Mm.
Super, super, super. I loved it, loved it, loved it. The next one, The Perfect Find by Tia Williams. I rated this 5 stars. We have a review of the book and the movie that you guys could watch. Amazing. Rated it 5 stars. Loved it. The next one is, again, this is not in a particular order because it's kind of out of order right now. A Most Excellent Midlife Crisis. That's book 3 in the Good to the Last Death series.
Mm-hmm.
I rated that one 4.25. Then one of my Amazon first read books. I finally read one of them.
You know what? As long as I've been buying them, I've only read one. So,
So, and if you don't know, first reads is if you're an Amazon Prime member, they give you 1 or 2 books, depending on the month, that
mm-hmm.
you get to pick for free. It's included, not free, but included in your membership. And some of them are pre-orders Like they haven't even come out yet. So once they do come out, it just gets sent to your Kindle right away. And you don't pay for them.
Yeah.
They're usually like $5 a book when they sell them on the website. So,
Hmm.
anyways, this is the first one I read. It's
And
the
you own
answer.
them, so it's not like a Kindle Unlimited book where you have to return it. You actually own it.
It's yours. Yeah, yours
Yeah.
forever and ever and ever.
Hmm.
The Answer is No by Frederick Backman.
Hmm.
Silly story with such a powerful punch. It's like 100 pages.
Okay.
So funny, so cute. This man lives in his apartment, doesn't ever have to talk to anybody. His food is the way he wants it in his fridge. He gets to order his pad thai with extra peanuts. Nobody messes with him until somebody leaves a frying pan by the trash can outside, and people just start knocking on his door. And it's just funny, great read. And then my last book is The Grandmother by Jane E. James. This was also an Audible Plus book, so included in your membership if you have it. This book, I gave it 3.5. It's a thriller.
Hmm.
Throughout the book, I knew I had an idea of what what was going on in the.
Hmm.
But then the twist at the end, not that I was wrong, it was
Yeah.
just something extra added. I did not see that coming. So if you're in for a thriller, it's called The Grandmother
Okay.
by
Okay.
Janie James. It was good. Those are my books, guys. Collette.
All right. So mine are going in order because I'm weird like that. So
Mine didn't organize in order and I was not about to go through it.
I get it. So for me, my first book I read this year was The Fires of Vengeance, which is book 2 of The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. 4.5 stars. Loved it. And there, let's just start with the fact that he wrote this book in 2020 and we don't have any updates about book 3. Sir. Sir.
It's been 5 years.
I need something. So, book 2 was better than book 1, I think. I think book 1 was definitely set up the story for you. Book 2 definitely involved you in the story. So I don't know how he's going to end that, but hopefully it's not a disappointment. But 4.5 stars. I highly recommend reading that series, even though it's not completed, just so we're clear. The second book I read in January was Our Crooked Hearts, which was the viewer's choice pick that Liz was talking about. That was the one for me. Our Crooked Hearts by Melissa Albert. I gave that 3.25 stars. It was about witches and a mystery. I don't know. It was weird. I was eating it up at first and then it just lost the plot along the way. And I just felt like the ending was just so easily resolved. I was like, no. Okay. The next book I read was an audiobook. And that was Red Rising by Pierce Brown. 5 stars.
Ooh.
I see why everyone raves about this doggone series. Fantastic. I ate this book up. Ask Liz. Liz couldn't even talk to me. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm listening. I can't. Ate it up. One night I literally sat up and played a game. You know how you download those games on your phone?
Stupid games.
Listen, I downloaded the game and I put on my Red Rise and I was just playing my game and listening to the book until like 2. And my husband was like, bring your ass to bed. So, fantastic. It's about Darrow and he's essentially he's a red. They have a caste system. Reds are at the bottom of the totem pole. And he is a miner for helium-3 on Mars. Helium-3 is what helps them terraform planets in space. So they have, what do you call it? They've terraformed like Venus and other planets, but they're trying to do it for Mars now, or so he thinks. He learns a lot more about what's going on, and it takes him on a journey of basically trying to take down the powers that be. Fantastic story. Love it. Next book I read was Reggie and Delilah's You're Fallen. It's a YA, 4 stars. It was super cute. It was one of those YAs.
True YA.
Yes. Like more nostalgic feeling. Like, oh my God, I remember reading these. And it was just such a good time. It was really cute about this boy, is a black boy. He likes Dungeons and Dragons. He's a super nerd. And he sees this girl. She is biracial, half white, half black. And she's in a band. And he portrays himself to be this confident person. He always pushes her to get, towards her goals and talks her down. And, they form this friendship and eventually fall in love. And they eventually have to come to realize maybe you're putting someone on a pedestal, because when he does express any type of self-doubt, it's like he can't doubt himself. Like everyone doubts themselves. So you learn that. And then I also like the smaller portions of it where I didn't know how to articulate it, but I could relate. I'm not biracial, but she was saying she always felt like she had 2 feet in 2 different worlds, but never accepted by either. And that's how I felt growing up. Not that my family made me feel bad or Americans made me feel bad, but I was never American enough, but I was never Jamaican enough either. So it was like, where do I fit?
I get that because
Yeah.
it's the same. I think it just happens. Well, anyways, we both, yeah.
But yeah, I felt like that was the first time someone explained it where I can be like, yes, that's it. So I enjoyed it. I would highly recommend anyone reading it. I think it was a really good read. The next book I read was The Forest Grimm by Catherine Purdy. I gave that 3 stars. It was one of my Fairy Loot books. It was basically a retelling of all the Grimm stories, but she's like on a journey to try to find her mom, and she's basically Little Red Riding Hood. It was a lot. That's all I got for you. You can read it. 3 stars because I just felt like it went on forever. And it wasn't even long. It was only like 350 pages, but I was just like, we could wrap this up in 200. It didn't need to be that long. Yeah. The next book I read was Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros.
I haven't finished.
3.5 stars for me. I think I was telling Liz, I think them extending it into a 5-book series effed up the series for me. I when we read Iron Flame, I had told Liz, I said, this is 2 books in one. They should have let her flesh out the first half of that book, and that could have been 1 book, and then the second half of the book could have been a completion of the series. Now it's just dragging for me. I'm gonna read it. But it's dragging because now I'm just sitting here like, why? Why are we going to all these different places? For what? Why? I don't care. It was a lot. Next book, final book, was Golden Sun, which is book 2 of the Red Rising series. And again, 5 stars.
And those are on Audible Plus, correct?
Yes. Both are on Audible Plus. The 3rd book you got to buy. You got me good, Audible. I sure use my credit. So 5 stars. Again, it just continues Darrow's journey and ages him up. Thank God. I love the fact that they aged him up, because the first book he was 16 and I was like, that's weird. Why are you married at 16? But the way he explained it was the people that did the mining, they didn't live long lives. So they died. So for them, even though he's 16, he's like a 50-year-old. So yeah, they get married and all of that. So now he's like 20, 21 in book 2, and it progresses from there, and he's betrayed, and I need to know who did it, because I'm mad. Also, before we finish this, because I'm almost done, this was a pick for my siblings' reading book club. They hated it. I enjoyed it though, because I felt like it really showcases humans, how they act. Like, it was a lot of murder and killing, and I'm gonna get you because you got me, and people were like, well, they felt like, why are they doing that? I was like, well, that's people. Just because you're good doesn't mean everyone else is good. And I felt like he was able to showcase, no matter your ranking in the cast, either you're a good person or you're not. It doesn't matter what caste, you can't help what caste you were born into. That's just who you are as a person.
True.
So I felt like, to me, I felt like it really showcased humanity. But if you're not into the kill, there's a lot of killing. There is essay in there. It's not on page, but you hear about it. So just so you know. But yeah, those are my 7 books for the month of January. Oh, did I ever tell you what my average rating for this month was?
No, I don't know. Go ahead, say it again just in case.
Just in case. 4.4. Nope,
I don't
4.04.
think you did. I don't think you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
4.04. This was a good month.
Yes, for the
I
both of
liked it.
us.
Yes. And I think I was telling Liz, I was saying last year I read a lot of other people's recommendations and not books that I wanted to read. So I feel like with me reading the books I actually want to read, I'm having a better reading experience.
Me as well.
So, but you guys, that concludes our January wrap up of 2025. Yeah. So you guys, let us know what your top books were of January. If you read any of these books, what are your thoughts? If you agree, disagree with what we think. And as always, you guys, please like, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, TikTok for however long they'll have TikTok, and Facebook. And we will see you in our next video. Bye.